Matt Holmes here with University of Indianapolis men's and women's swimming and diving head coach Gary Kinkead. And Coach, glad to have you with us today with your season just around the corner now, just a couple of days away from starting your 2011-12 campaign. How are you feeling? Just your thoughts? Excited to finally get out there and swim against somebody else other than your kids going against each other in practice?
Well, this is year number 18 here at the University of Indianapolis. I'm excited about a new season. We've got a great group of kids. We had a fun group last year, and I like this group a little better than last year, so it should be a more enjoyable season. Last year, we had some good swims at Nationals, and I think we're going to be a little better off this year at Nationals. We swim at Purdue, which is the Indiana Intercollegiates, and when they got their new facility about 6 years ago, they opened up this competition for all the Indiana colleges and universities to come in, and it's just a high school order of events, but it's a lot of fun to go and swim against Division I programs. Should be a little smaller meet this year. It's just us, IUPUI, Valparaiso, and Purdue, so it's all Division I programs except for us. And it's a pretty low-key meet for us. The kids get to select their own events, and a lot of them will swim off events. But it's nice to see them in competition and see what they're going to do. And it's going to be nice to evaluate the incoming and the freshmen, the new people, see how they race. And I think that's the most important thing. I've seen how they practice. Now I want to see how they race.
You mentioned last year the women finishing 10th in the country, and you return all the women off that team who went to nationals, including all the ones that helped you score those points. The men 18th. You return all those guys as well. We'll start with the women. Just your thoughts on them, and obviously 10th last year, and thoughts on improvement and where you think you can go with that national championship experience they have, and all those kids coming back this year. Plus, you mentioned you've got some quality newcomers as well.
Yeah, we return everybody, as you mentioned, that came off the team for 10th place at Nationals. And I tell you what, it's almost as exciting at our conference meet as it is at Nationals, because even though we were 10th at Nationals, we were 4th at our conference meet. So our conference is the toughest Division II conference in the country in men and women swimming. And it's just going to be exciting to see how we do, 1 in the dual meet season, 2 in conference, and 3 at the national level. And I think we'll probably take maybe a little more people this year to nationals. And I think the quality of the people that we take, of the ones that went last year, better quality. Of the ones that we have new, good quality. I think that we'll be taking a lot of good people to the national championships. And it's going to be tough because the time standards to get into nationals are even more difficult this year. And last year they were 2% faster than they were a year before. And 2% doesn't sound like much, but when you're talking a 1650 and you're talking about 16 minutes, 2% is a significant amount.
With those guys coming back, it's early in the season. You're still yet to have your first dual meet, which will be this weekend, first event, which will be this weekend at Purdue. How much do you talk about them in improving? And this is what you guys did last year, and expectations of making an even better run at national, in conference and nationals this year.
Well, I think the main key is that they improve themselves. And the thing that I really focus on and talk a lot about is taking the pressure off of themselves, because I think with most athletes, they put too much pressure on themselves. And I don't talk about the 115%. I talk about the 98% effort, because I think that they find out when they do their best, a lot of times it's, oh my gosh, I didn't realize I was going that fast. It felt so easy. And I think that's the way athletes are. You take a look at the best in the world and they make it look so easy. And I think that's really what I'm working on and focusing on, especially with the new kids. I tell them that there's only one person in their lane that can beat them, and that's themselves. And not to worry about the other 7 people, because they can't control them.
How much does it help as well to have, it's an individual sport, in the relays, there's 4 of you, an individual sport and the team component that you've got swimming and the support of their teammates and that kind of thing, where you're out there by yourself in the pool, but you've got people there cheering you on, and that whole other part of it, the team component in an individual sport.
Well, I think that is really important with us, and I think that that's really going to be important this year. I think that there seems to be a closer bond amongst the team members this year, and sometimes that's difficult to bring about. You have the idea of potential, and potential is a dangerous thing unless you bring through what the potential can be. And I think that we have a lot of potential, but I think that they're bonding pretty well, and I think that they realize that as they perform, they also need to support their own teammates.
Also got quite a few home events this year. The first one just coming up October 22nd, your pink meet. Tell us a little bit about that, and what fans can expect when they come out here for your home events this year here at the Ruth Lilly Center pool.
Well, I think it's going to be an exciting one. It's against Wayne State, and Wayne State was second at nationals last year in both men and women. So, and they return a great number of those people. They return their national champion breaststroker from last year. They return their national champion 50, 100, and 200 freestyler in the Russian that they had, and they're going to be difficult, but I think that we'll compete very well with them. We actually have a diver this year, which will help, and I think that diver, he placed 12th at state meet last year in Indiana High School State Championship meet, and he's drawing more interest of divers. We have 3 or 4 other divers that are coming in to visit that could possibly come in next year. So we're starting to develop not only in the swimming phase, but I think in the diving phase as well.
You mentioned how tough, we'll kind of end on this, how tough the GLIAC is. You're 4th in the GLIAC. The women were 10th in the country, the men were 18th in the country. How does that help you, in terms of developing your student athletes, recruiting the program, that you have that behind you, that you're going to go against the best, more or less week in, week out?
Yeah, I think that's very important. It's nice to be winning a conference championship, but if it's shooting blank, so to speak, it really doesn't mean much. When we perform well at our GLIAC championships, that develops our confidence to develop and to perform better at the national level. So I think having that competition week after week against the GLIAC teams, and then at the GLIAC championships, and it's at a great facility. It's a Jenison High School up there in Michigan, and we're going to be co-hosting this year with Northern Michigan. So it's going to be really important to perform well at our conference championship meet that sets us up for nationals, which is 4 weeks later.
Well, Coach, thank you very much for the time and letting us join you today, and good luck with your season upcoming.
Welcome to my office.
Head coach Gary Kinkead of the UIndy Men's and Women's Swimming and Diving Program.